Good morning, Comet Nation, and welcome to a special edition of the AD's Corner. My name is Ryan Hall, I'm your athletic director, and with me today we have a chunk of our football staff. Head football coach Rocky Larson, wide receivers coach and recruiting coordinator Coach Logan Levy, and Jake Latecki, our D coordinator. Guys, really appreciate you taking the time today. The reason we have this special edition is this is all based off of signing day, which is obviously a huge deal for you guys. You've done a phenomenal job with where you're at right now. I know you're about to hit the road again, but really excited to allow Comet Nation to hear about the guys that you've signed and kind of where we're at and what a great direction the program's going as you guys enter year 2 of your time here, Coach Larson, with your staff. So really appreciate the time, and I'm going to jump right into it if everybody's good with that.
Absolutely.
All right, so Coach, it's been a busy off season, obviously. You came in here almost a year ago, right?
Yep.
About a year ago, maybe even today.
Yep.
I know you came on board right before signing day, and I know it's been a whirlwind, but dug your heels in the sand and headed in the right direction. 48 as of this morning, 48 recruits signed. That's awesome. And I know that's a testament to not only you and these two gentlemen right here, but your entire staff. So I guess if you could just give us a breakdown of those 48 guys on location and maybe, how many on the offensive side of the ball and defensive side of the ball and get into it from there.
Absolutely. So Coach Latecki will talk a little bit about the defensive kids that he's signed today, and Coach Levy is the recruiting coordinator. He's a big behind-the-scenes guy, making sure the numbers work, making sure the cap works. He's as good as there is in the business. But as we sit here today, we've signed 20 kids from the state of North Dakota, which if you went back and you checked the interview, my opening press conference a year ago, I said we were going to win the backyard. We were going to win an hour-and-a-half radius from where we're at. And I think we can sit here confidently a year later and say, we've got the best kids to stay home. We've got the good players.
It's awesome.
If they're not taking a good Division II scholarship, they're coming to Mayville State. And that was something that when we set this thing out, that's what we wanted to do. We also wanted to get our roots in Minnesota. We really wanted to get in Minnesota and make an impact there. And we signed 12 kids out of Minnesota as of today, and we got more kids coming up to sign over the next week. So we've done a nice job of protecting Minnesota and North Dakota for 32 kids out of this class, 32 of the 48. So we're doing what we set out we were going to do. The other big area is, as a staff, we went down to Arizona early December. Wasn't real sure. I know there's a lot of really good football down in Arizona. It's a place that I had worked before. I had worked with Coach Perone. I had recruited the area, and we weren't sure if we could get what the return on investment would be. But as we sit here, we've signed 5 kids out of the state of Arizona.
Wow.
So we're getting some very positive impact from those 3 states. And like you said, we're getting ready to go on another trip here, taking the staff to Las Vegas to recruit for 48 hours, get as many kids. We got over 30 home visits set up as a staff. And we're trying to go out. We're not going out there for big numbers. We're trying to get 3, 4, 5 kids that can come in and be a Malik Flowers, who came in and was an honorable mention all-conference receiver, and be that impact type kid. And they're out there. We just got to go find them, and that's why we paid these guys the big bucks to get out on the road and see what we can do. So no, we're really excited about this class. There's definitely some kids that we're talking about in here, a couple of really good transfers that are already with us, that are in the weight room, that are part of this class, but they're already part of the football team. So we're really excited for where we're off to.
Well, Coach, I think 48 is very impressive. I think even more impressive, and one of the things that dare I say has been a challenge the past few years is winning that backyard, as you mentioned. And just to restate, 20 North Dakota kids is absolutely awesome. Hats off to you guys for that. And then 12 Minnesota kids. You said it, 32 new kids already signed coming that are North Dakota, Minnesota, and dare I say they're not even done yet.
Yeah, and we actually got a really exciting phone call last night from Douglas, South Dakota. I don't know if Box Elder, South Dakota, about 7.5 hours. Coach Levy went down and back on that trip. Coach Magic came up here. He loaded the van, brought 5, 6 kids up, came on a visit, and one of those kids signed. And I'm not getting ahead of it, but I think we can get a few more out of South Dakota here over the next 4 or 5 days. And Coach Levy and I have talked. We're going to go have a big signing party down in South, but we're going to continue to win North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin. That's what we're setting out to do. And we really, Wisconsin wasn't as big to us this year. I mean, our biggest thing was to get our roots in North Dakota and win backyard. And once we start developing and fixing some of those relationships that we had issues with, we're going to move on and continue to attack Wisconsin, attack different parts of Minnesota. But priority one this year was getting into North Dakota high schools, and we've talked to every coach in the state. We've done everything we can to continue to repair those relationships.
Absolutely, absolutely, and actions speak louder than words, and you guys are showing the action as well. So before I jump to Coach Levy and Coach Latecki on specific guys and kind of the places that were much needed, right, as you move forward, I want to talk a little bit more. We talk about local 20 North Dakota kids. Of those 20, you got some kids backyard right here in Mayville, signed the local boy, and then you also got some Hillsboro.
Yep.
So that 15, 20, 30 mile radius, can you talk specifically about some of those kids?
Yeah, not to jump topic, I'll let Coach Levy talk about Logan Kruger here in a second, but I think the one that I get asked it everywhere I'm in town, wherever, is how's the offensive line? How's the offensive line looking? We've signed 13 offensive linemen in this class. I think after you sit down and you really watch our tape from last year, where we struggled is running the football. We couldn't run the football. We couldn't keep Creighton upright all the time.
Right.
We had to go address that offensive line need. Yep. And that's something I'm really proud of our staff as we attack that head on. We're not done recruiting there yet by any means. There's still some really good players out there. But as we sit here right now, 13 new offensive linemen in this class is a big deal.
Wow.
But you look at Gavin Bowman, a good defensive player from Thompson, North Dakota. You look at Logan Kruger, a really talented receiver. All the accolades right here in town. Watch him every Friday night, and he gets to stay home and play in front of the hometown fans. That's a big deal.
Absolutely.
You look at the two kids from Hillsboro, which Coach Levy can cover. Two really big body kids that can run and catch by and rage. I mean, they're good players. So I'll pass it over. You can talk a little more about Gavin if you want, and I'll let you talk about the local kids that you recruited. But we're excited about those kids that are right in our backyard.
That's the thing that, like I said, it's just impressive to see, Hillsboro, Thompson, Mayville, Mayport, CG, obviously, and even, just around that area of people really excited about what you and your staff are doing and heading the right direction after, a great fall. I know you're fired up to play some spring football as well, but, again, just exciting and a lot for alumni and the support to be excited about as well.
And the kid I don't want to miss from Northern Cass, Big Joe Nelson, man, he's going to be a future star in this league. He had multiple North Star offers, chose us. He's going to be a good one down the road. So, and we went down and had his signing with his family, awesome people. They bleed Mayville Blue. We're really looking forward to having him also. So I don't want to make sure I miss him. But you want to talk a little bit about Gavin, how he fits? What do you see?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a great player that can cover and is physical. He'll come down and smack you a little bit. That's one of the biggest things defensively we were looking for this year is guys who are willing to play extremely physical, hit all the time, add some length. We also had quite a bit of success in Minnesota this year. We landed some really good offensive players out of Blaine High School, 2 offensive linemen, Brock Jones, Xavier Powers, and Hayden Zenk at quarterback. Guys like Charles Rice from Fridley, 6'3", linebacker, can run, can fly around. So, length, athleticism, and physicality were really a priority for us defensively and across the board this year. So for us to pluck some kids like Nick Wetzel out of Spring Lake Park, really good active linebacker, physical kid, had
Nick's
multiple.
Another kid that he had multiple North Star offers, and he chose to come to Mayville State and
Very good.
be part of what we're trying to do here. So same with Charles. Charles had multiple North Star offers. So we're getting kids that fit.
I want to get into that here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But before I do, Coach, you're the D coordinator, right? What did you feel, and it's kind of a snapshot, right? Half of a season, you still got spring games, but, of the 6 games you guys did, when you go out and you're recruiting these guys, and I know everybody's across the board on good kids that you're recruiting, that kind of thing, but what were the gaps, if you will, right, where we've got to get better, we've got to get more depth in these specific positions? Obviously, across the board, you want to bring great kids in. But what were your immediate focus on bringing kids in on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I think a priority for us was linebacker, true backers. We needed to add some depth there and a little bit more length.
Okay.
And then I think another priority was defensive end, finding guys that were really active pass rushers, that were fast off the edge, really quick kids that could work a move. Those were big time priority positions for us this year.
And of D end and the linebackers, how many of those guys you got?
We've probably upwards of 8 now in
Nice.
both positions. So, we've added
Both
some,
positions.
Yeah, we've
Wow.
added some really solid players and more depth for us as well.
Okay.
To have an ability to kind of rotate guys in as well, so we're staying fresh out there on the field.
You maybe have already mentioned a few of those names. I'm not sure, but some D end linebacker names that you think could make potentially an immediate impact right away if they do things the right way.
Yeah, Kevin Haskins, great transfer for us. Just went to junior college route, wasn't playing.
Okay.
Had really good high school tape, active edge rush guy.
Okay.
I mentioned Charles Rice as well, 6'3" kid that can come down and roll off that edge. You can send him off the edge. He can play a little bit inside. He can play true Mike. It's those guys with that length and speed that can play multiple positions for us in our very unique defense. Are the type of guys we're looking for. Nick Wetzel's another one. Very downhill, aggressive kid, but could also cover a tight end and do multiple things for us. So a lot of success getting those type of bodies.
I'd like to add on too to that. And this is, not many people know this one yet, but Tyler Gay, the former sack leader in the North Star, he took a year off of football. He was getting some NFL interest. He took a year off to figure his life out, but he'll be joining the Comets next fall.
Awesome. Great
which
kid.
We're excited to get him back on the field and get him back going with us. And it's always good when you can add a former sack leader of the conference back on your roster.
And I'll tell you, a phenomenal young man off the field,
Yes.
as good as he is
Yep,
on the field.
absolutely.
So that's great news.
That's a
great
big
news.
one to get him back, and his brother's actually coming with him, Jared Gay, a defensive lineman. So that's
Okay.
we're going to have both of them up here, and they're going to be two good players on that defensive line. I think one that really stands out to me is Justice as a linebacker from that Arizona trip. I mean, he had a lot of different options. He came up here. Him and his family spent 3 days up here in Mayville, North Dakota. Fell in love with the small town. We went down to Paul's, had breakfast every day. Just ran into you. You never know who you're going to run into at Paul's at 7:30 in the morning. But I mean, just made a really impact, and that was one of the main reasons that he chose to come to Mayville is the community support, the great people that are here, and we're really excited Justice chose us.
Awesome. And Coach, I'll just wrap it up. It sounds like you got a lot of guys on the defensive side of the ball to add what you already have that are going to be able to really fly around on the field. And I know when you guys first came on, one of my first conversations with you, that was big for you.
Yeah.
You want athletes that'll be able to fly around on the field, and it sounds like your Christmas came early and you got a lot to work with, so that's
right.
exciting.
Yep.
Want to move on the other side of the ball, Coach, if that's okay. I want to talk to Coach Levy. Coach, every time I talk to anybody on the staff, I talk to Coach Larson, talk about what a recruiter you are, Baltimore, Maryland guy, so I like you, obviously an East Coast guy and that kind of thing, but with that said, I know you get after it, right? And on the offensive side of the ball, kind of the same question I have for Coach Latecki. Who are some of the guys, your immediate needs? You want to get great offensive players on the line, quarterback, backfield, receiver, right? But who are some of the guys that were, when you signed this guy, Elijah Roundtree, if you will, right? That you knew, man, this guy could be an immediate impact right away, and what were the needs, the biggest needs going into signing this recruiting class on the offensive side of the ball?
So, for us, the biggest thing was addressing the offensive line, as Coach Larson mentioned earlier. And, I'm going to start with the two transfer guys, Gavin Cook and Bryce Fayweather. Those are two big body guys that I think can make an immediate impact for us on the offensive side of the ball. Two plug-and-play offensive linemen. As a receiver coach, got to mention some receivers. Got to talk about that. Big receiver class for us. I'll start with the local guys for you. So we got Logan Kruger from Mayport CG, super athletic, super quick, like a Julian Edelman type guy.
Yeah.
Kind of does it all. And then I think Nathan Rage from Hillsborough. That's a guy to me that is such a high ceiling. When you look at, he took a couple years off from football, came back. Cross-country guy never gets tired. Immediately the guy that I think has a lot of upside. Maybe not year one, I'm still learning the game, but I think he's a guy that Comet fans are going to know pretty soon.
6'2", 6'3" kid, a long, rangy kid. That,
Yeah.
we're really excited about.
Awesome.
You know, and that's something that, like Coach Larson just said, that's something we prioritize the receiver positions, getting longer, getting guys that don't look like me, right? Getting guys that are 6'1", 6'2". You know, and I'll go down to Mandan, Trey's Teets. I mean, that's a guy for us. His junior year had a bad injury, didn't play, didn't really get recruited a little bit, and then senior year breaks out. I mean, does a lot of really, really good things for us, and I'm excited about him. His father went to Minot State and played football there, so he's got that connection. So I'm really, really excited about really all these guys for us offensively. And I think defensively as well, the one I wanted to just give a shout out to was Dylan Bai from Hillsboro. I mean, long. I mean, this guy's a true 6'4", really long arms. I mean, he's a guy who I think can come in on the defensive line and help Coach Cook out and those guys and get those guys rolling.
Awesome. Well, Coach, you know, one of the big ones, and I'm going to put this one on you. I guess I could ask Rocky, but, you know, you're the offensive guy in the seat right now, so I'm going to ask you. Creighton Fowl obviously broke a lot of records, and he was a phenomenal quarterback. Creighton's moving on now. He had a phenomenal backup, the young man from Wisconsin that came in, did a phenomenal job this year. I think what a lot of Comet Nation, specifically White Hat Club and football supporters want to know is the job his? Or is that going to be an open competition? I know you signed some great quarterbacks, right? So, and either Coach Levy or Coach Larson, if you want to chime in on that a little bit. I'm asking you the tough ones, really.
Yeah, no, I think Tim, I mean, he comes in, throws for 349 yards and 4 touchdowns and gets our win against Presentation. And I'll tell you right now, I think this football team believes in Tim Salmon. He's a really good football player. He's as good a kid as we have in the program. You know, we get a transfer from the University of Mary, Logan Hoff, that's a good football player, also a North Dakota kid. Went to Mary for 1 year, transfer back here. He'll definitely be in that conversation. And we signed a kid out of Arizona that's top 10 quarterback in the state in Arizona, Gavin Goulette, who pulled the trigger here earlier this week, who's also a very talented football player.
Okay.
So we have made that a very, very exciting competition. Everything's open competition.
Okay.
When you're 1-5,
Yep.
I mean, our job's to depend on getting wins and getting things right. So I don't think there's a position that's not open as we sit here right now.
Good.
I think Creighton's our quarterback going into the spring.
Right.
You know, he's got a few games left, and we can confidently sit here and say Creighton's our guy in the spring. But
Right.
once Creighton walks away from here as one of the all-time greats, we got to find the next Creighton Fowl. And
Absolutely.
the thing about Tim's got a leg up because he's played in games. He had
tough
awesome,
games.
and he comes in against Dickinson and
Did not look like a true freshman.
no,
I'll say
and
that.
that's what we're really excited about, Tim. But at the same time, if you look at the league, and this is a stat, it's 64% of college football teams, they play their backup quarterback some point throughout the season.
Yeah.
Especially with how hard and physical this league is, and
Right.
the top is really good. Quarterbacks are getting hit, and we want to run our quarterback more than we did last year. So we got to have 2-3 guys ready. And that's something I think everyone should be looking forward to in the fall. Is we're going to have a really, really competitive race at quarterback.
That's awesome. Well, and you know, you hit the hammer on the head. Signed some great quarterbacks. You got Salmon coming back, who's a phenomenal quarterback. And I'm talking about the fall, obviously, but iron sharpens iron. And it sounds like that's going to be a good, healthy competition where all those guys will be super competitive on trying to get a starting position, but also be great teammates and help
Absolutely.
each other get better. So it's great to have that depth.
Yeah, and I think another couple, as I'm looking through my list here, a couple other names that we haven't really touched on yet is Mason Ullman, a transfer from Bemidji State.
Okay.
He played 9-man football in Silver Bay, Minnesota, so he's used to a smaller town. He's come in here. He's really impressed us the first 3 weeks in the weight room. I mean, he's a
Okay.
6'1", 220.
He's here now.
He's here.
Okay.
6'1", 220-pound running back. We needed that big, solid tailback, a goal line back, a short yardage back. But that's what we thought of him. I mean, you start watching him run around. I mean, he's a good player. And the one that I know, I talked to John Murphy and those guys that follow this place religiously, and we haven't had a kicker around here in quite some time, I've understood. And us to go out and get Xander Coleman from Fargo South, who is a straight kicker punter, that's what he'll do for the next 4 years. A highly recruited kicker.
Awesome.
To pick to come to Mayville State. I know that's a big deal, and we struggled kicking the football this year on special teams, and that's something that, as a head coach, I look back on, we had to address. And we're going to go out, we're going to get 1 or 2 more kickers. We need to have an open competition at kicker and punter, but that was a big one out of Fargo, who's someone who's used to kicking in the cold, who local guy.
Absolutely,
another local guy who's used to this. So we're really excited to be able to get him. And Brady Delrock, Austin's brother. I mean, that's staying in the family, and that's pretty
Love
cool.
how hard that kid's
Oh,
just worked and matured.
Absolutely.
And he's going to be big for you next
absolutely,
year.
and getting his little brother here and making this thing a family. So it's really cool to be able to keep good families in our program for another 4 years.
And that goes to show, how much his older brother has really enjoyed it here. And, you can't have a better recruiter than that,
No,
right? So there you
absolutely
go.
not.
Guys, I want to shift gears a little bit. You mentioned a lot of names, and we've talked a lot about football, right? I want to hear a little bit about, you all's thoughts and words when you go and talk to a recruit, when you go and have a home visit, and this isn't directed to anybody specifically, anybody can jump in here, but what is it that separates Mayville State from anywhere else, right? What is it that when you go in there, you explain to them how much you guys appreciate this university, this community, and the direction that the football program's going in?
I mean, I think I can take that. For me, as you mentioned, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. My neighborhood at home in Maryland is a little bit bigger than the size of Mayville. So for me, big culture adjustment, and I didn't know what I was really getting in for when I came here. And I was overwhelmed by the community support. When I moved in here, there was a U-Haul truck. There was people always coming in. I mean, I'm just a wide receiver coach. I'm not the head coach, coordinator, and everyone was there welcoming me. And, you go around town, everyone's talking to you. So for me, the first thing I talk about is the family atmosphere. The first thing I talk about is the community support that we have, and how when you're walking down the street, they're not going to say, hey, 64, or hey, coach. They know exactly who you are. So that's the biggest thing I sell and talk to those guys about is, the family atmosphere and the community we have.
Absolutely.
And really the support. I mean, you talk about the renovations we've made around this campus and all that stuff in terms of the turf field, the locker rooms, the weight room project. There's a lot of exciting things going on around here, and I think it's a contagious type energy.
Absolutely. Good stuff.
One thing that I think really separate. I mean, we're a young staff. I'm 29, Coach Latek's 29. Oldest guy on staff's 35.
I'm the
years
old man at the table.
You are,
right
no
now.
question.
It's good.
But we can relate to these kids.
Yep.
We grew up in the same environment, same time frame. That hey, we know how to use Snapchat. We know how to use we can relate
Right.
and help these day-to-day problems that it's much different than it was 10, 12 years ago.
Right,
Absolutely. And the other thing I think our staff does an unbelievable job is we won't get outworked. And that's everyone says that, but I mean this group. I mean we got visits every day. We're flying all over the place. We got girlfriends, families that haven't seen us in months. But it's the commitment to getting this place right. When we took the job here, we gave you our word. We gave President Van Horn our word. Hey, we're going to get this thing turned around. And it doesn't happen just showing up to work 8 to 5.
Right.
I mean, it takes the extra hours to get these kids in random times, and especially during a COVID year.
Yep.
I mean, you can't get into many high schools, so you're sitting in families' houses. You're preaching our vision, who we are, what we're about. And the thing I think, I know our staff is we're going to shoot you straight. You know exactly where we fit. And if Mayville State's not for you, best of luck somewhere else. But we're going to find kids who fit our mission and what we're going to do, and good people, good academic kids who are going to make Mayville State proud. So,
Good. Coach Latek, anything to add on that?
Yeah, I think we just, as a staff, do a great job of, getting to know the kid not only as a football player, but as a person, and can relate to, other activities they enjoy, get to know their family a little bit, and we go really in depth to know the kid and know them really well.
Awesome. Well, one of the other things, and Coach, you just hit it on it a little bit, is how do you make sure, you guys obviously love Mayville and bleed blue and getting things rolling in the right direction, but how do you, bring a kid in, obviously great football player, that kind of thing, but, the goal here is to retain and graduate, right? And obviously we have a lot of great offerings academically and some great kids that we're proud of, no matter what the sport or non-sport, that graduate and go on, whether they stay local, which some of them do, or go out, back home, wherever that may be, but such a great institution academically. How do you pitch that, and how do you make sure you get a right fit academically as well as a great athlete?
yeah, one thing I think we did a better job this year is making sure kids come visit.
Yeah.
So, last year we were throwing in such a wrinkle where you couldn't have kids on campus. You were doing Zoom. Like, yeah, we can take you on a Zoom tour around here and show
Right.
you everything. And great, but I think Mayville is so much different when you come here.
Right.
When you get off the highway and make them out like, hey, is this actually something that I can do? And that's that's going to help retention. And I always go back to is when you're taking local kids, your retention, they're used to the weather, they're used to the climate. Or the out-of-state kids have visited for the most part, so everyone knows what Mayville is, who we're about, what we're doing. Coach Levy ran a report for me last week, and this is something, if we went back and we looked at last year, it was about 11% of kids who we offered, visited, committed to us.
Yeah.
That's not good enough by
Right.
any stretch of the imagination, but for COVID year and things like that, that's okay.
Yeah.
As we just sat here last night and signed a kid from Douglas, we've signed a few kids here, a good run lately. We're up to 34% of kids who have visited campus have committed to Mayville State.
Gotcha.
So we've probably brought about 150 kids to campus, and that's a much improved how we operate. New weight room helps. I mean, we got some new stuff coming that we can't really chat about yet, but it's a much better place than it was a year ago, and I think it has a lot to do with you and President Van Horn and hiring a full-time SID in Jared, that we can present. Our branding is so much better than it's ever been, and
Right.
that's something I think it's good to see we've taken serious as a university and gone from there. So
Good.
much appreciated.
What about you guys academically? What kind of kids you get, and what kind of message do you give those kids that, you're a student athlete, not an athlete student, right? So how do you touch on that?
Yeah, no, I think we, discuss the small class sizes, the intimate learning environment. Professors are going to know who you are, know your name. And, if the student feels like that fits their need, it's a great option for them, especially being a public institution. It's a great opportunity for kids to get really good hands-on, one-on-one learning. So if that's kind of what the kid's brand is, what he wants, it's a really, really good fit for us.
Okay. Levy, anything to add on that?
I think for us, I talk about the resources, the resources we have with Mrs. Richards, and I think, as a coaching staff, the resources we provide to these guys for tutoring and things like that to help, like Coach Latecki said, to cater to their needs.
Good.
The one thing that's really been good is the ag business program.
Yeah.
We've landed some good players that wouldn't have came here without the ag business program. We got 4 or 5 kids in this class alone that are going into that major. So that was huge to be able to get a piece of North Dakota right here on campus.
Well, hats off to everybody on the academic side of things. We now have a coaching minor as well that
huge.
people can get excited about. Our nursing program's booming. We've always been a phenomenal education school, business school. So not only things, I think rolling for this program and athletics as a whole, but on the academic side as well. So that's good, and I'm glad you guys are obviously talking about that with the guys and what it takes to not only succeed on the field, but in the classroom as well, because obviously, as we all know, that's what's most important. Last thing I want to touch on is we got 2 helmets here, right? And everybody knows about the White Hat Club now, okay? That started with my neighbor, Mr. Adam Erickson, who's a White Hat Club member, just having an idea and a vision. And within a week, he gathered up some local guys that support football and are in the community and are very passionate. And we met at Hub Insurance. And we talked about, having an alternate helmet and, the money going back into the football program. And what started out as a vision by Mr. Erickson and myself sitting down kind of talking about that thing with about 6 or 7 guys has blossomed into something absolutely amazing, right? And with that said, year 1, we did a great job, right? We had a little bit over 50 members. I won't talk about the figures, but we had a little over 50 members. We now, for year 2, not only repeat customers, but we have over 100 members in the White Hat
I
Club.
want to say it's 123,
123.
as of Wednesday.
There we go, 123 members. So thank you, all of you that do that and support the fundraising arm of our football program. Coach, without getting into too much detail, dollars and cents, how much has that support helped you go out to get these great young men and help the program to be able to, upgrade on some of the things that you guys have talked about?
It's why we are where we are. You can sit here and you can say, we got that, but without the true support of our booster club, the White Hat Club, we wouldn't be sitting here with 48 kids in this class. There's no way. We wouldn't be sitting talking about building a $65,000 new weight room. No way. Every college program needs an arm, needs a giving hand, and we are so fortunate to be at one of the best I've seen, and it continues to grow, and there continues to be excitement. And the thing I'm really excited about is we've had one of our biggest years, and on the field we were 1-5, and we go rip off 3-4 wins next year and make a run at this thing, this thing's only just getting started. That's what really excites me, and I believe the rest of our staff is. The White Hat Club to me isn't just there's some really good friendships in there. You look at Adam Erickson, who brought the team ice fishing last weekend.
Right.
Lon Jorgensen, a guy who's behind the scenes helping. He's really helped raise some money. You look at Shannon Bergstrom and those type of, there's just some really good people that help get this thing going. So
And if you're not doing a good job, another White Hat Club member that will come through that door and tell you today is Mr. Jeff Strand.
there's no question.
It's been good.
He took me to dinner. Me and Jeff, I've gotten to know Jeff really well. So I'm meeting with General Bedard this weekend.
Okay.
So we're just getting in. It's good to finally get out and meet some of these guys that it feels weird a year later. But
Mike
we're
Bolness
thankful.
and Jay DeCan are kind of the operating officers of the White Hat Club. So, I just want to take the time to thank all those members of the White Hat Club. Whether you're a former football player, alumni, or just a supporter of Mayville State Comet football, we can't thank you enough for everything you guys do. And you are a huge reason of why this movement of improvement and excellence is happening. So thank all of you for doing that. Guys, it's been a good show. You mentioned a lot of names. I know our SID, Coach Micklejohn's going to put out an article along with this show with all the lists, so all of you will be able to see all the kids that are signed come signing day next Wednesday, football signing day, when this will come out. Guys, do you have any last thoughts? We appreciate you taking the time. I know you're about to hit the road to go do some more recruiting, and you're going all over the place. But any final thoughts as we approach signing day on Wednesday?
Yeah, this is a short show, so we couldn't touch on every single kid. We were just touching, the local kids, the few kids at different positions. Through and through, I'm sure we missed a lot of really good kids. We have a really good class, and I want to take this opportunity to thank my staff. We wouldn't be able to sign these kids without them hitting the road. We wouldn't have been able to do what we did in North Dakota. We look what we did in western North Dakota and sending Coach Flores and Coach Berry out to Williston and Divide County and hitting some of those schools and signing some of those kids. We wouldn't be able to do that without those guys being able to sacrifice some time with their families, girlfriends, what it may be. And I'm very thankful to have the staff I have. I'm very thankful for their commitment and dedication. I don't say it enough, but I do want to take this time to thank these guys. And this isn't easy being Coach Levy, second recruiting class, and it's quite a bit different in the pace and making sure we got a lot of really good football players we talked, and he's the cap guy who makes sure the numbers balance so you don't come hunt me down when we miss scholarship budget. So I owe a big thanks to Coach Levy for making sure that the numbers always find a way to work.
Good. Coach Latecki, anything?
Just really excited about this class. I think our goal was to really stack a second class on top of that first one that we brought in, and I think we've done that. So excited to see these guys out on the field.
Awesome. Coach Levy?
The one thing I want to add that has me so excited about this class is how much of a brotherhood they already have. They have a Snapchat group together. They're already talking. And one guy I want to give a shout out to, we forgot, was Tavarius Hines. This is the guy that has helped get a lot of recruits to come here after he signed with us. And he's on Twitter. He's all over Mayville. So I think that's
awesome.
really awesome for him and for our entire group that they're all together. So that's something I just wanted to mention.
Well, I know you guys are building a team, but you're also building a culture, and that's excited to see. Again, if you heard a lot of names, but you didn't hear all of them. There's a lot of great players on this list that you didn't hear. Be sure to check out whether it's our social media pages or the article that Coach Micklejohn puts out Wednesday on signing day. That'll have the list of all the great future comments that we'll have getting going. And again, thank you all. Thank you for your support. This takes everybody. This takes an army, and we have the best army. So thank you, and be sure to be on the lookout for that. And hope to see you at some spring games this spring. Go Comets!
Go Comets!
Comments?